from this small video, what we are going to discuss is, we are going to discuss the difference between the all syllabus paper structure and the new syllabus paper structure. It's just like 10 or 15 minutes video, because I believe that everyone should aware about this difference. So I will give you the best example for you. Just go for your past paper booklet. You might having like past paper booklet, no? So if I am not mistaken, there would be only up to 2018 A-level. Right? So I know majority of you don't have even 2019 A-level paper. So once you are practicing from 2012 to 2018, we might be thinking that even the 2020 A-level exam paper structure also would be based on that. So we want to make sure that we know the differences, because majority of us, including me, we are practicing what? All syllabus past papers. Then I have seen that a lot of lecturers, they extract the all syllabus past papers and they just change the amounts. Right? So it's not a matter of going through with all syllabus past papers. That's fine. We must go through with those past papers. Doesn't matter. But the thing is, we should know the differences between those paper structures. We should know the differences between the paper structures. Right? So otherwise, no point of practicing the past papers for the all syllabus. Because we should know the difference. Then only we can manage the time. Then only we know for where we are getting this question. So from this video, we will be discussing this. So everyone should be aware of this difference between all syllabus and the new syllabus past paper, as we just have only one paper for the new syllabus past papers. So first thing is, we have to identify from where we are getting these differences. If you refer for the first paper, there is no difference between the old syllabus and the new syllabus. There is no difference between old syllabus and the new syllabus paper structure in the first paper. So whatever the old syllabus papers that you are practicing, you can use those things as it is. So no worries, the time management part is very clear. It's based on the old syllabus paper, so you can practice on those. Doesn't matter. But the question comes once you come for where? Once you come for the second paper. Because in second paper, there are plenty of differences between the old syllabus past papers, that means basically the old syllabus paper structure, and the new syllabus paper structure. Right. Since we are getting 200 marks for the second paper also somewhat crucial. Right. So we will be discussing the differences between the old syllabus paper and the new syllabus paper structure in second paper. Right. So if you refer for the instructions, so now you all can see the instructions. So instruction part is very crucial, because in all syllabus and new syllabus, there were two types of instructions. Right? So if you just refer for the old syllabus, like in 2012 to 2018 papers, what we supposed to do is, if you refer in here, answer 6 questions only, including question number 1 and 2. So that means all syllabus, we had to answer for 6 questions. So keep it in mind, from 2012 to 2018 papers, we had to answer for how many questions? We supposed to answer for 6 questions. Then question number 1 and 2 was compulsory questions. So then come for the new syllabus paper structure. It says what? Answer 5 questions only, including question number 1 and 2. So first thing is in here, even the old syllabus as well as new syllabus, you had to answer for question number 1 and 2. So basically, you know, everyone who is watching this video, your question number 1 and 2 is purely based on what? Question number 1 and 2, it's based on your compulsory questions. So first one you will be getting company questions, then I will show you what is the question number 2 that you all are getting under the new syllabus paper structure. So, but see, there is a difference between these two instructions. First one, all syllabus paper, you had to answer for how many questions? 6 questions. If you refer for that, you had to answer for 6 questions. But see now, in new syllabus paper, you have to answer only for how many questions? 5 questions. That means 2000 up to 2018, they answered for 6 questions. Then from 2019 onwards, you have to answer only for 5 questions. Then you might be very much happy about on these instructions. Why? Earlier, those students tried off the answers for 6 questions before the 2019. But from 2019, you had to answer only for 5 questions. You might be thinking, okay, look here, this is very interesting. You can have the time management properly because you don't want to answer for 6 questions. Right? But I will tell you what was happened once they decrease the number of questions up to 5 questions for the second paper. Right? So, if you refer for the paper structure, so here comes all syllabus paper. See how many questions was there? 7 questions for you in the all syllabus paper. So then you had to answer for how many questions? You had to answer for the 6 questions. But see the new syllabus paper, you will be getting 6 questions, but you have to answer only for 5 questions. Right? So that's the main difference that I have discussed in the previous slide also. Right? So this is a one main difference in here. All syllabus paper, they gave you 7 questions and you had to answer 6 questions. But now for you guys, they will give you only 6 questions and you have to answer only how many questions? 5 questions. Right? So then again, if you see the questions, question number 1, there is no difference. So it would be the company question. So if you refer for the last year company questions, purely based on accounting standards. If you doesn't know the LKS 2, if you doesn't know the LKS 37, if you doesn't know the LKS 10, events after the reporting period, and mainly the LKS 16, property plant and equipment, LKS 16. So basically the revaluation surplus loss, how to recognize it in the financial statement. If you doesn't know that part, even you can't think about the financial statements of the company question in the last. So question number 1, obviously company question. Now see, all syllabus paper, we had 2 parts in the question number 2 compulsory question. It was partnership and overhead costing. But look here, in question number 2, in the new syllabus paper structure, we all are getting for the question number 2 what? We all are getting the management accounting question. Management accounting lessons will be tested on what? Question number 2, right? So that's another difference that you will identify in these 2 paper structures. So partnership question, it's not a compulsory question, but keep it in mind, you should follow the partnership accounts, because the thing is, I know majority of you will have to select the partnership question. So anyway, you can't skip the partnership questions in first paper. So basically, out of 400 marks, it will be 40 marks from partnership accounts still even in the last year paper. Right? So question number 3, luckily you are getting accounting equation, but what my advice is, don't predict that always question number 3 it will be there for the accounting equation, because in last year also there was a difference in this accounting equation. She tested this accounting equation, but bit of touch of error corrections, right? So we don't know what would be happened for there, right? Okay, so question number 4, 5, 6, 7, so it's the other lessons they are going to test it. So I know the majority of students, even they have learned the LK16 through that online accounting.lk also. So they know what are the questions that how come for this mixing up to here. So it's not constant. Always that question number 4 is this. There is no link between like that for the papers. But there is a way of like predicting the questions for these 4 questions. So anyway, for new syllabus, you will be getting question number 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of these 4 questions, you have to select 3 questions. So altogether it would be 5 questions. So that's all about the paper structure. Then marks allocation. This is also crucial because now you can see in all syllabus paper for the second paper you had to answer for 6 questions. So that means they had to allocate 200 marks for that. So how they got is all syllabus paper 40 marks for the question number 1 and 2. So altogether it would be 80 marks. So 200 minus 80, you will be getting another 120 marks. 120 marks allocated between your optional questions there. So one question got 30 marks. So 30 into 4, you got how many marks? Then 120 plus these 80, it's 200 marks. So now see in the all syllabus paper how you got the marks for this each question. Right? But see the new syllabus paper, you all have to do 5 questions. All syllabus paper, you had to do 6 questions. But now in the new syllabus paper, you have to do only 5 questions. Right? So in these 5 questions, every question it will give you 40 marks. Every question it will give you 40 marks. Right? So now you might be very much happy. Why? Because earlier from before 2019, the student is supposed to answer for 6 questions. Now you're supposed to answer for 5 questions and each question will contain 40 marks. So you might be thinking that totally you can forget about one question if you logically refer for the all syllabus paper. But I will tell you why you can't think on that manner. Because you can see you have to do only 5 questions in new syllabus paper. Only 5 questions, then every question it will be getting 40 marks. Right? So now I will show you the hidden truth behind these paper structures. So now you can see what. So this is the hidden truth actually in these 2 parts, the two structures basically. Right? So if you see first bullet point, it says what? 2019 A-level paper, question number 6 consists 3 sub-questions. Look here. So before come for this, I will tell you how was the paper structure that they built for last year paper. So basically because you know it's a last year paper, it comes under the new syllabus paper structure. Before the last year student go for the exam, Ministry issued a pilot paper because otherwise the student doesn't know what could be the structure for the paper. So they issued a pilot paper. Now you know in the old syllabus you had to do 6 questions. But in new syllabus you have to do only 5 questions. You have to do only 5 questions. So you want to make sure once you are doing these 5 questions, because previously you had to do 6 questions. You might be thinking it's much more easier to do the 5 questions than the 6 questions. So in the given pilot paper in the last year, for the first time for the new syllabus papers, so in that pilot paper what they introduced was for a 1 questions. As an example, if you take question number 5, they had 3 parts, A, B and C. But if you see the all syllabus paper structure, if you refer for question number 5, they had only 2 parts, part A, then part B. Right? I think you all got it. All syllabus papers for a 1 question, they got 2 parts, part A, part B. But for the new syllabus, since they have skipped totally 1 question, they have decreased the question numbers. They have reduced the question numbers from 6 to 5. They have included another part for each question in the pilot paper that they gave it on the last. So in the pilot paper for the new syllabus paper structure, for majority of questions from 5 to 7, 5 to 6, they had part A, part B, part C. That means they have to allocate 20 marks. So earlier they for one question, they used to have only two parts, part A and part B. But for the last year, they introduced part C also. So luckily for the exam, they tested that part only for question number 6. So question number 6, it's include part A, part B, part C. So if you are a person who is good in part A and part B, even you can't select that question if you are not good in part C. That's why this paper structure is really important for you guys. Right? Because in question number 6, there was 3 parts using 3 different lessons. That's the important point. It was 3 different lessons that they have tested on 3 different required parts in a one question. Right? I think it's clear for you guys. So now you can identify the risk. Why? Even you are good in part A, even you are good in part B. If you have missed the lesson for part C, you can't think about question number 6. So now the last year, it was the first time that they introduced this paper. So believe me, this time at least 3 questions would be there, including part A, part B and part C from 3 different lessons. So you can't skip any part of the syllabus, right? Because you have to answer for not only for part A and B, like in the all syllabus papers. At least you will be getting at least 2. Just forget about 3. At least there will be 2 questions to answer for part A, part B and part C using 3 different lessons. So I have seen that most students, or even the students, some of the students talk to me for this last 3 and 4 days. So what they are asking is, so can we like predict the question and go for the exam that you are going to do only for this question, only for this lesson, you are going to answer for this lesson. But the question is, you can answer for that, but out of this 20 marks allocated for a question, then you will be getting like 6 or 5 marks or the 8 marks, that's all. Because you know this is a 400 paper question, 400 marks paper question. So that's why to balance off that, because in the first slides I told you that questions, they reduce from question number 6 to 5. The reason to reduce the question number 6 to 5 is because for 5 questions the content was much more bigger than the all syllabus paper structure questions. Right? So hope you all understood it. So you will be getting 3 parts. So this time, so you can't avoid the syllabus 15. Revenue recognition standard, revenue from contracts with customers. So I know the many of these students now, they are watching the SLFRS 15 videos. So I guess in this time for part A, part B or part C, in somewhere she will mix it, the SLFRS 15 question, calculation question, how to recognize revenue based on different performance obligations. Right? So I guess she will test that part in this time. Right? So because she has part A, part B, part C, now you might be thinking, sir, that part A, part B and part C comes only for the question number 6. No, there was a somewhat relief for them because it was the new paper structure that they had on first time for the last year. Right? So this time definitely at least 2 questions it will be there using part A, part B, part C, using 3 different lessons. So SLFRS 15, LK 16, separate question on revaluation, exchange, disposal. So anyway, you can't avoid those. So those will be tested. Right? Now see the second point. For other questions also, examiner had included more required parts to balance 20 marks per question. To allocate the 20 marks. So then and there, from 4 to 6 questions, she had put more required parts, right? As an example, because now the 15 marks question, she has to convert it for 20 marks, right? If you all can remember, we discussed earlier one question, it was 30 marks, but now it's how many marks? For you guys, it's 40 marks. Look here, 40 marks. So examiner has to what? Allocate the 40 marks in between the same question. So what she did was, then and there, she add more content for the questions, right? So as an example, if I am not mistaken, in 2019 paper, do you know for which question that they tested the bank reconciliation part? You might be surprising if you haven't gone through with the 2019 paper. So she tested the bank reconciliation part also under what? Non-for-profit organization. For the first time in history. Because bank reconciliation part, they tested for what? Accounting equation from 2013 onwards. And for somewhere she used the bank reconciliation knowledge. She tested that part on partnership accounts also. Then it might be in the company accounts also. But last year, she amalgamated. Your examiner, Professor Samanthi Senaratna, Madam, amalgamated that bank reconciliation part also with what? With the non-for-profit organization. So that's the risk of this paper. So you should know the whole syllabus to answer for the second paper. It's not like the whole syllabus paper structure. You will be getting cash flows and accounting ratios together. No, because there will be part C also this time for that question. Right? So you want to make sure then and there you study each and small thing in this syllabus. Right? Especially the accounting standards. I believe for part A, part B, she will check it on the basic questions, but part C, there can be separate question on like LKS 8, LKS 10, especially definitely on the recently adapted SLFRS 15, because even they adapted SLFRS 15 for the first time in the last year. Right? They tested that on the last year paper. Right? So that's what the risk in here. So I know majority of you now watching the LK 16 as well as partnerships as well as the SLFRS 15 revenue and SLFRS 16 the leases. So and also for the Sigma and Headway students, I will be doing once this curfew and all get neutered. I will cover up all the things that I have planned through the 7-month revision program. So no worries. So this is a small recap session on this. So as you all are doing more questions on the past papers, you want to refer for these differences also, because otherwise we can't identify. Oh, the most important thing is the time management, because once it comes for the accounting paper, the most of the students, they struggle with the time management, right? So you have to see the difference between old syllabus paper structure and the new syllabus paper structure. So my last advice for you guys is, you want to make sure you know the 100%, that means each corner of each lesson. Otherwise, I have seen that some of the students are taking some lessons from some other lecturer, from the other part, from some of the other lecturers, and also they might have mixed it up, or they might have missed something, right? Because for the last 3 or 4 days that a lot of students talk to me, then the final conclusion that I arrived was that students are not thorough with some of the lessons, so they just know the basic parts. As an example, once they are calculating BEP units, they know how to calculate it. Then BEP sales value, they don't know how to calculate using CS ratio, right? So everything that you should know to answer for this question, because it's new syllabus paper structure, somewhat different from the old syllabus paper structure. So there's a challenge for you guys if they added part A, part B and part C for at least for 3 questions. So it would be on 3 different lessons. So guys, make sure you know the differences between old syllabus paper structure and the new syllabus paper structure.